Hey, Las Vegas, thanks for joining us back here on Vegas Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show. And today's our community spotlight show, so we have a special guest. Before we get started on that, I'm Trish Williams.
I'm Tiana Carroll.
And our guest is Kent Carlson.
Nice to see everybody.
Yes.
Kent Carlson.
Kent, we're going to be talking, today is going to be a very informative show. We're going to be talking about laterals and that pipe that goes from your house to the sewer. We got so much stuff that we're going to learn about today, so stay tuned. It's going to be fun.
It's not going to be for the faint of heart either, so there might be some graphic conversations happening during this episode, so just be warned.
Yes. Before we get into that, let's talk about numbers.
Numbers. They sort of are the backbone of our community, so of our real estate community, on how things work and what goes on in our valley. So we've had a little bit of changes in the numbers, which I'm very excited to. Is it next week's show we do the community spotlight? Or not the community, the numbers market update.
You're doing that one without me.
I
won't be here next week.
I'll be flying solo again.
Yeah. So so our numbers for this week, we have 4,139 single-family inventory on the market.
Yeah.
Available. That number's dropping.
It's just creeping down. It's slowly. It's not drastic. It's like a little bit each week.
We were at 8,000 though. It's half of where we were last.
Yeah, well, we were also at 1,800. So it's really an idea. But you're right. Spring last year, 1,800. Fall of last year, 8,000. Then we sort of got to this new year, and then it's sort of been like 46, 45, 48, or 42. We're just slipping.
Yeah, it's dropping. And again, not harping on the news, but I'm going to, is I seen an article, local Vegas news station reported home prices are falling. This was a headline across the front.
Screen.
So I'm like, where are they getting this information from? Because I'm seeing all this activity now. And yes, they did fall substantially over the last quarter. However, I'm looking, I tune in and watch whatever they're talking about. And they were talking about the closing out numbers of January. And I'm like, well, we're in March. Like, we're not.
We're getting ready to close out March.
Yeah.
Right? We're on, what is today, the 30th?
Yeah.
So, we're closing out March. So they are definitely behind. But listen, they're always 3 months behind, in my opinion.
Yeah.
By the time they get a news story on their desk and they have time to put a story together and research it and get in the air, we've already changed.
It's just misinformation, so I don't know. That bothers me. But 502 closed.
Yeah,
so,
and we had very little price reductions. We had, what was it, 113?
113 price reductions. Now, that price reduction number is definitely going to be an indicator of whether home prices are coming down or not, because you need price reductions for home prices to come down, and when they're in the hundreds, it's not really.
That's so minimal.
Yeah.
It's so minimal.
Yeah, and we're seeing multiple offers again. I'm seeing it out there.
Okay, can I just tell you about the past weekend? So we did 2 open houses. Both open houses had high activity. We had like 12 to 16 groups come through that weren't real. They had realtors, but not actual realtors, actual buyers that came through each open house. And then both of them went under contract by Tuesday.
Wow.
So it's really ramp it up for spring. It's major. So I expect that when we go and talk about April's numbers in the beginning of May, it's going to really reflect that, and I don't see prices falling.
No, we're definitely not
I'm seeing
it
less and less concessions. I'm seeing a couple really turnkey ready homes being multiple offer again. So, yay spring.
So, when people are getting into these homes, Kent.
Yes.
And they are.
Yes.
I mean, we had just 502 of them just last week get into homes.
There's a major component on the home that a lot of people don't ever discuss or talk about. We don't really hear much about it until someone says that there's a problem with it.
Out of sight, out of mind, yes.
Yes.
It's the dirty little secret.
the dirty little secret. So let's talk about that. But before we get into that, let's talk about who are you, Kent? Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, my name is Kent Carlson. I've been into the sewer operations as well as construction and maintenance for over 30 years. I'm the Vice President of the National Clay Pipe Institute. We are a nonprofit organization that assists municipalities and agencies and at times homeowners in regards to their system. We also represent it on the manufacturing side as well as the engineering side. So.
Okay, so you are definitely the expert that we need to talk about this.
That's right. I am a sewer geek. So,
Okay, those are the facts. You're a sewer geek. You get excited. You're like, I got this and this. You bring props.
Yeah, and we got props. We have props. We have slides. We have a lot of information for you guys today.
Yeah, so if you're on the podcast and you're listening to it and you want to see what we're talking about, then make sure you hop over to the YouTube channel so that way you can get the visuals as well.
Yep, and that's at Vegas Realty Check on YouTube. So make sure you go in there and you can see the slides and everything that we have there. So let's start with this thing that you have here. It's called a lateral.
yes, we can put there's always a big question in regards to the responsibility of the homeowner or the commercial business owner on the pipe that runs from the structure to the mainline sewer that, for discussion's sake, down the middle of the street. That pipe is called a lateral or a private sewer.
And that's the slide we have
That's like
right
the slide
here.
up on here. So each different municipality, each different county, each different city has different rules and regulations in regards to, one is who it actually belongs to, and then number two is who maintains that lateral. So in this photograph right here, you can see where you have right there the city sewer main line, and then you have the connection, which is called a YWYE connection at times.
Okay.
So then the lateral itself connects to the house or the structure, and then of course all your shower water, your toilet water, your sink water goes into that lateral and to the city mainline sewer, which then flows gravity downstream to the treatment facility. Now, some municipalities will say that the homeowner is responsible for the entire reach of the lateral to where it physically connects to the city mainline sewer.
That's what I hear a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So, and it's usually under their front yard, their
Exactly.
landscape, sometimes
And it
driveways,
goes further
right?
out, right? It can be under the sidewalk and into the street.
Yeah, and some places actually put, there's a right-of-way that runs between housing tracts or at the rear of housing tracts, and that's called a right-of-way. So you may assume that your lateral is running from the front of the house to the street. It could be actually in the rear of your house or down a side right-of-way that connects. So you always want to make sure you know where your lateral is, especially if you're responsible for the maintenance of that.
Now, I go to a lot of home inspections, and at the home inspections, the home inspector it's always on the report, this is where your clean out is, and people are like, yeah, that's great. I have no idea what that means. Like,
Yeah.
I get that
we
too.
see it, you're like, what use is that?
I know where the clean outs are of the homes that I've sold now, but I don't know where the lateral
Oh,
is. That's not
exactly.
pointed out on a home inspection.
Right.
Not one that I've seen.
So the clean out would definitely be an indicator of where it's running.
Well, it's an indicator of where the pipe connects to your house. It could
Okay.
be that and right there in front of the house, you'll see those vertical lines, and you see where it says clean outs. Now,
Okay.
if you have one clean out in front of your house, that's where it connects, but you don't know if the lateral then runs underneath your house to a right-of-way in the back, or it could run at an angle, so you really never know what the path of that is. I know in my house, it runs pretty much directly from 90 degrees from my structure straight into the middle of the street near a maintenance hole out there. And I of course, that's my business, so I checked into where mine was. So it's very important. I mean, some laterals, I've seen laterals before, they're almost like 900 to 1,000 feet, believe it or not, in very large properties.
Wow.
Some were only like 150 feet from the rear of your house to the middle of the street. So it's very, very important to know where the path is and how long that lateral is.
And what about what they're made of?
Okay.
So that can be something that.
Very good question. Very good question.
you.
I just happen to
I've
have.
been trained.
I just happen to have some product here.
Well, look at how convenient that is.
So in the industry, there are generally two common pipe materials that are used in laterals. One is polyvinyl chloride. As you can see, this right here is PVC. Now, when you're driving down the street and you see bundles of PVC stacked up in front of a construction site or at a municipal facility, green pipe is sewer pipe, and then you'll also see blue pipe, which is fresh water.
Oh.
So now it's sewer 101.
That I
okay?
did
So
Now
you'll
I
see-
know. When
now-
I see these builders doing it, I'll
yeah,
say.
you'll see. So if you're going down a development and you see, pipe sticking out of the ground, you see green pipe sticking out, well, then it's typically sewer pipe. Blue pipe would be your water side. Now, this right here is polyvinyl chloride, PVC, and it usually comes with like a 1-year warranty.
Okay,
yeah,
so that seems so ridiculous to me
Yes,
for
yes.
a structure that's going to last a multiple of lifetimes if you boom off to your kid. How is that even fair?
And you're going to spend $20,000 on your front landscape and have to
That's
dig
right,
it all up
dig
when
it
this
all up.
1-year
So-
warranty's up. That's ridiculous.
yeah, and so each, this pipe
nuts.
is susceptible to deflection, where you have point loading of the soil. There you go. Pushes down on it and becomes oblong, and then that might hinder your ability to clean, as well as you might have some root intrusion coming through the joint if it gets a little bit worse than 7.5% deflection. The
Jeez.
second type of pipe is vitrified clay pipe. This vitrified clay pipe comes with a 100-year warranty. I mean, it's the greenest pipe available.
That looks
It's-
solid.
It's made from.
It's actually
yeah.
quite beautiful too. It
Isn't
looks
it
like
nice?
a terracotta. And if you're still on the podcast,
You want to use it for a vase?
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, he said it earlier. He's like, it looks like a water bong. He's not wrong.
So this is made from clay and water, very natural. It's vitrified, which means it's fired in a kiln to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it actually becomes a ceramic, and it's very, very tough. It's very, very hard. The joints in modern vitrified clay pipe are made out of polyurethane, kind of like skateboard wheel material.
Wow.
Okay.
And this is called the bell, and this is called the spigot. And so they're inserted into each other, and this is the lateral. Now this one right here is rigid pipe, so it supports its own weight and structure. It's not susceptible to deflection or oblong after years, and you can use any type of cleaning option to clean these things. So you can use mechanical, high pressure water, cables, the like. So since it's so durable and since it's so hard, it will withstand all types of different cleanings.
What is most commonly used in like the newer construction homes? Do you know?
Most commonly used, it depends on the municipality or the city. I mean, some cities are straight, clay. They specify vitrified clay pipe. Some cities will specify just straight PVC, but some give the option of whatever you want to use.
Okay.
And so as long as you get it permitted, of course, which I always recommend, any sort of repair work to your lateral is have it permitted by the city or agency. And then it's your decision. I think that there is a lot of misnomer in regards to what is the best repair method for your lateral between different private companies that come out and do that. So since it's such an important component of your house that you should really pay attention and really be concerned about what it is even before and after you buy your house.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those things where when there's a problem, that can be a big problem, and you don't want to deal with that where maintenance is preventable.
And you
so.
never think about it until all of a sudden you go into your bathroom in the morning and your bathtub is filled up with sewage. I mean, you never really think about it.
That would be awful.
That would be
that's
horrible.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want any of that in my life.
Yeah,
Yes,
so.
that would. Now, there's different types of things that can clog sewage.
Yes.
And you brought some slides for that
Yes.
of the different
Okay.
types of clogs that are commonly seen. And I think that this is so important because these are things that, as a homeowner, be mindful of in taking care of your home.
Yeah.
Where you plant, what you plant, these roots. We hear about that all the time.
Yeah, so in every lateral is susceptible to three big things. You have debris, fog, which stands for fats, oil, and greases, and roots. Now, the contributing factor to all of these is lack of maintenance. So, if you don't maintain your lateral, or same thing with the municipal sewer system, you're going to get one of the big three in there. So if you come back up to the roots right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's bring that root slide back up, please.
Now this one
Thank
right
you.
here, of course, you can probably tell that, roots you got inside of this PVC pipe here.
And cracked it.
And that is that 1 year
And
warranty.
this is the one, yeah, the 1 year warranty. So you can see right here, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Trish.
Would those do that to this?
Yes,
Really?
all pipe is susceptible to roots. If you don't maintain it, it may happen.
Okay.
Okay, so it's when it happens, if it does, what then are you going to do? Then in the different type of pipes, then you have the ability to clean in different ways. For example, on the roots, you can use very aggressive cleaning methods to clean roots out, like on vitrified clay pipe. In plastic, you're very limited because it's plastic and it may be embrittled. Like on this pipe right here, you can see where it's embrittled
just
and
cracked.
broke, right?
Yeah.
So now there's also root inhibitors that you can put down your clean out that will actually, is like a systemic product.
So that's those clean outs that we see in the home inspection report. We can
Right,
open
they have
those.
the square top.
Yes.
I didn't know you could open those. You can open those.
Yeah,
Oh
actually,
yeah,
yes, you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
for.
unscrew 'em,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
You unscrew them. When I used to have a house that had a issue and there was a clean out by the sink and it would always get clogged and I'd have to stick a hose down there and like
There
just
you
flush
go.
it.
So you
blow
can
it out with
unscrew
water.
those and put something in them.
Yes.
A
they have-
root inhibitor.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's made like a lot of, are made of like diquat. It's a chemical agent. It's safe to discharge into the municipal sewer system. You don't want to use it that goes into a stormwater system, but it actually is a root inhibitor that will inhibit the growth of roots inside of your sewer. So
Wow.
So can I ask you a very naive question
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
somebody who has never
That's all
knock
I've
on
been
wood,
asking all
No,
morning.
yes,
So
yes.
never had plumbing issues, so I'm knocking on everything wood here
Yes.
because I do not want them. How do roots get in? To me, it seems in my mind like a closed system, interior of the house through a pipe, exterior. Is it like compacted and then the pipe gets cracked and then a root seeps in there and then it's like, ooh, water source, I'm here forever?
yes, roots get into sewers through, in like breaks in the sewer, or in the case of PVC where you have deflection and then the joint starts to leak, then you have a gap in the joint, and they'll make their way into it. Now, it's not an overnight process, so I'll see pipes that haven't been cleaned in 35, 40 years. You'll see fats, oil, and greases or debris in there, and sometimes roots. And that's why I say the contributing factor to all of those is lack of maintenance. Like anything else, you have to paint your house, you have to, mow the lawn.
change your air filters.
Exactly. So I mean, so if you have a maintenance program on your house, depending on how much foliage and trees you have in the front, or how much usage you have in it, or if you deep fry a lot of foods, you're putting that stuff down there, which you shouldn't.
Don't
Let's
do
talk
that.
about
Wait,
oil.
yeah,
Can we
okay,
talk
let's
about
go,
oil?
let's go.
I
fog.
I like the fog, right?
Yeah.
Fats, oil, and grease.
Yes.
And
Let's
the
talk
photo.
about
This,
that.
this is one of my favorite pictures right here. This is actually from Austin, Texas.
Well, I hope my husband is watching because I have this thing where and now it's our thing. It's what we do. Every time I cook with oil, I take it like, an old spaghetti jar or a mason jar or something. I always pour it in there, and then we have all this oil stored, and then we have to find somewhere to dispose it. It's a headache. I get it.
Yes.
But I've always been taught that you don't pour oil down the sink. And some people will say, oh, it's fine as long as you pour it with hot water. No.
Well, that hot water has to be a myth, right? Like while it's warm, it keeps the oil
but then it's not gonna
separated.
be
But
warm
right,
later.
whenever
soon
it
as
goes
turns-
somewhere else, it becomes a
turns
solid
cold.
again.
Yeah, as soon as it cools down. Now remember, laterals can be anywhere from 4 feet deep down to 10 feet deep at your property line. So if that soil is cool, when you dump that water down there with it, it's going to coagulate up. It'll harden up because it's cool. So.
Yeah, if you're on the podcast and you're not seeing that picture of the fog, it basically looks like a pipe stuffed full of Vaseline.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that hole down the middle was actually a high pressure nozzle that they try to break that stoppage. And
Yeah.
since they couldn't get through it effectively because it hard. Now remember, grease will solidify and it'll also calcify. So this right here became so hard that they actually had to cut the pipe out to put a new pipe in.
do not pour oil
No.
down your sinks.
So that must be like helpful hint number one from you to the world.
That's
Don't
right.
pull. What else is there? What
Okay,
other-
now we have another one. If you bring this one right here.
Okay.
is actually,
This makes me so sad.
and I'm doing air.
So this one grosses me out when I found out what it was.
So I'm doing air quotes right here. If you're listening to the podcast, these are flushable wipes, believe it or not. So
He said
the-
condescendingly.
yeah. So like theoretically, anything is flushable, right? Even kitty litter, if you so choose. But what happens when it goes down the sewer is it begins to coagulate and build up on each other. So this right here is actually flushable wipes that built up inside of a lateral, and they had to cut it out and replace it. So, it's the.
And that looks like spray foam inside of a pipe.
It looks like concrete. I mean,
Yeah.
I see municipal sewer systems, very large systems that become very clogged with flushable wipes. And that's the thing is like, there's one thing is flushable and there's one that's degradable. So toilet paper is made once you flush it, then it breaks up. And you see when paper, toilet paper just like falls apart.
It's like almost dissolves.
Now, flushable wipes is very fibrous. They're made to stay together, to like wipe things down, but they don't degrade when they get inside your sewer, and that's like the big problem.
So
Wow.
there's like $1 million idea, right? A biodegradable flushable wipe.
Yes. So
Yeah.
All right, engineers, get at it.
there are all cities and states now that are actually passing legislation in regards to the regulation over flushable wipes. Not necessarily from the homeowner's perspective, like responsibility for the lateral, but the cost incurred for the ratepayers to clean these sewers
Oh, yeah?
up and the clogs. Because once you have a clog in a municipal sewer system, you have sanitary sewer overflows where it comes out the manhole covers. That's when the EPA, who regulates the way that municipal sewer systems are regulated and their discharge permits, then a city can be fined, and there's consent decrees out there where they can be, burdened with large fines and things like that. So.
All right, and you keep bringing up municipalities, and
Yes.
I don't want people who are listening to this in Vegas thinking like Vegas is one municipality,
Correct.
because in the Valley we have several municipalities.
Yes.
So it's not like we can give you a broad overview like, oh, we're in Vegas and it's all going to be connected from your property line to the structure
Right.
is your responsibility and out to the street is not, because it depends upon where you are in the Valley on where you connect to that lateral are responsible as the homeowner for, right?
Yes, exactly.
North Las Vegas, City of Las Vegas, unincorporated
Henderson.
Las Vegas, Henderson. There's a lot of stuff right here within Vegas. So.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Another can of words. Now, you had an interesting thing that you said that is a common inquiry that you've gotten from realtors, which I agree, because it happened to me with a client at one point in time, of where someone thinks that apparently they were on septic and they
Yes.
didn't know they were.
Yes.
I guess they never thought it was odd that they didn't get a sewer bill. I don't understand how these people can operate and know, but I had that happen where we had a buyer.
Maybe they
we were
thought
at
it
the
was
closing.
they were on city water, and
I
so
have-
they thought the city water was the sewage.
Yeah. The seller of the home had lived there for 7 years and did not know there was a septic there. So
They
that.
didn't notice like a huge septic lid.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't showing. There was a
buried?
tree. In my case, there was a big tree on top of it. It was a nightmare.
Wait,
we canceled, so
I
we
was under
didn't.
the belief that you shouldn't plant a tree on top of a septic
Exactly.
tank.
That's
No, you
why we
shouldn't.
canceled.
You
Yeah,
shouldn't.
So,
that's a big no-no.
yeah, when we found out that this was there, we backed out of the deal
Oh.
altogether. But it was because the seller had never known about it, had never been maintained, and there was a tree on top of it. So.
Yeah. I got a good story on one of those.
Okay.
I had a telephone call from a constituent back in the day, and they said that they had a plumber come out because their toilet wasn't flushing; it was backing up, and the plumber said that he put 300 foot of cable out through the clean out, and it went into the city sewer system, so it's a city problem. So
Okay.
I went out to the location. And unfortunately, the plumber put 300 foot of cable into a septic tank that the homeowner didn't even know that they're connected to.
So how can he say he was going to? Oh, because it would
Because
have to connect to
he
the city.
assumed that the 300 foot went past the property line and into the.
And so it just sort of snaked up in
there.
the
Oh,
septic
my
tank.
In the
goodness.
septic tank. So the.
Wait, did the city have to come and rip out the whole city?
Oh, no.
Okay.
The lady thought that she was hooked on the municipal sewer system,
And
but she didn't even know she had a septic tank. So a city will, if you're on a septic tank, usually in like unincorporated areas or places that the city or the municipality hasn't run a common sewer out to, you may be on septic. So
Yeah.
that's why it's very important to ask the question, where does my sewage go to? When I take a shower, where's that water going to? And that's going to kind of tell you, what your responsibility is. Unfortunately, they had to, do a major dig up on the septic tank. It was completely gone, and there wasn't any way just to clean it out.
Yeah, so because we're sort of suburbia block wall heaven,
Yes.
especially since the 90s forward in our build, most of that is city sewage, city septic. It's all taken care of. But we do have older parts of the valley, Centennial and things like that, that do have septic tanks on them.
Yeah. In the case of that I was talking about, where there was a buyer that we had that the house was on septic, the whole neighborhood was on city sewer, and this house was on septic. And apparently, after a little bit of research, we had found out that originally those homes were built, they weren't on city sewer, and then the city came in and there was like an opt-in or a buy-in,
Right.
And this house was one of the only ones on the
Last man
street that
standing.
didn't
They're like,
opt
I'm
in.
living off the grid. I don't need your city water and septic.
Yeah. So it was assumed that they were all connected to sewer, but that one was never connected.
Another thing too is like if you're connected to a septic tank, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, no, I lived on septic for years. I loved it.
A lot of times the city's accounting rules are not correct. And so I've seen where people who are connected to septic tanks are actually paying sewer service fees because it assumed that their sewage is now going down a municipal sewer line and out for treatment. Because some houses are, the fee collected for treating the sewage is based on how many gallons you use, on your water bill. But if you're going into a septic tank, your sewage is being treated by yourself, theoretically, not by the city. So you probably shouldn't be paying a sewer service charge.
I believe you told me there's somewhere where you can check on that, right?
Some cities are very good. I say cities or municipalities. Some agencies are very good about having public access to underground infrastructure maps. So, for example, LA County, LA City has maps that you can go online, and you can actually look up your house, and you can see where your lateral is hooked up to the sewer, and you can tell whether or not you're officially hooked up or not.
It's called a Y map.
Oh, well, yeah, some of them are called Y maps, and some of them are called sewer hookup maps or sewer maps. Yes. So,
Okay.
The best
Google
place to
where
call
sewer
would be
maps are.
called building and safety or.
It's a good buzzword. That's
Yeah.
better than what I was searched Google for.
Yeah, where does my blank 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 go?
Where's my
right?
go?
Y map.
Yeah, exactly.
Why
Y
map?
map,
Where's
yeah.
my map?
Yeah. Well, this is great. Great information. So, in closing, I think what is, besides don't put oil down your drain, stop using flushable wipes,
Yes.
roots, be mindful of
Yes.
the trees, and put these root inhibitors
Right, that was
down your
interesting. I didn't know
clean out.
that.
Yes,
I didn't even know there was one, so that's so valuable information. Thank you. Any other tips or maintenance things in closing that you think that people should be aware of?
I think with technology in the advent of using closed circuit television cameras to take a look at the health of your laterals, it could be a good idea, to hire a certified person to come down and take a look at the lateral. I mean, that's one of those.
Just to inspect it.
To inspect it. I mean, just like anything else. I mean, it could be done during the time that you're purchasing or after, especially if you have like an older home. If you have concerns that the lateral was not installed correctly during construction, you can take a look at that too. It's it's good to just do it once in a while and keep a copy of that so you know exactly how long your lateral is and the condition of it and stuff. So,
Yep.
I've been looking at videotape for over 30 years now, and that's one of those things that people contact me all the time for, second opinion in regards to, somebody came out and said they have to tear up my entire front yard to replace the lateral, and is it really necessary? So.
And that is something that is typically not covered by homeowners insurance.
I think so, yes.
Yeah,
I've heard horror stories.
I've heard horror stories of that where people say like they said they had to dig up my driveway. The insurance won't cover it because they don't cover the outside pipes. So yeah, that can be a big issue.
There's another thing too, is if you think about it, sewers are gravity fed, so they run downhill. So they always say that stuff flows downhill, right?
Yeah.
So if
You can say shit on the show, it's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Damn it, I wish I would have known that before.
I tell you at the end.
Yeah, it's just like, Tiana's got a foul mouth, we're gonna censor her.
So if you think about it, if your house is installed, if your house is built down on the foot of a hill, and the people behind your sewage is running downhill, and there's a backup in the mainline sewer, it could be because your house is the first in line. All that could be backed up into your house, okay?
Mental note, live at the top
so
of the
here's
hill.
the thing. There's also a thing called a backflow valve, and it's very, you can have these things installed, and it's almost like a little insurance policy that the backflow valve is installed near your clean out. And if it picks up that water is flowing in the opposite direction, the shit's flowing uphill, right? It's going to close and protect your home.
I've seen those
Yeah.
on home inspections where the inspector says,
Yeah.
this is a
I
backflow
have to
valve, and
say,
you're like,
yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
Thanks
I don't
for
know what
telling
that
us.
means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to say the S word. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
you're
no,
good.
it's like-
I
We'll
don't-
just
I don't
all
care.
say it, shit. We're
So,
good.
so there's a lot of things that a homeowner or a property owner can do to protect and make sure that this lowly little pipe is working okay, And if you think about it, is this just like taking care of your blood flow system? If it clogs up, you're going to have a problem. So,
Yeah.
don't think that out of sight, out of mind, because it doesn't work that way with sewage.
And it can be destructive. That is the
Yes.
kind
Yeah.
of destruction you don't want to deal with.
Yeah,
Yes,
you don't want to deal with that shit.
absolutely. Exactly.
I got one
yeah,
in.
Exactly.
I know you do consultations. Do
Yes.
you do consultations for? Is there somewhere like where you would recommend them to reach out to you, or would you?
Yeah, I
recommend-
usually, I help out as much as I can. I usually deal with very large municipal sewer systems and things. You can contact me if you want, or your friendly neighborhood realtors, of course. They're always
We know
will
a
take
guy.
care. Yeah,
We know a guy.
But if somebody want to send me an email over to Carlson at ncpi.org, that's fine. And so I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you want to take a look at what CCTV looks like online, there's I have a YouTube channel, Sewer Pros, on YouTube that has, I upload sewer-related videos on that one. So if you want to take a look at what CCTV looks like and different anomalies too, be my guest.
And I watched that. You were on Discovery Channel as well.
Yeah,
so
I was on
you're
Discovery, yes,
you
yes.
are the
Yes,
you're the man
Yeah,
to
and
talk
passionate
to.
about it,
So
right?
It's
Yeah.
very informative.
No,
Very
it's-
informative and knowledgeable, and very passionate about what you do,
Thank
obviously.
you very much. But I do have a gift for you too, right here.
Wow, I love gifts.
Since you've totally successfully passed Sewer 101s and lateral, I have some shirts for both of you, and I'll hold one if there's one for you.
So now when you're on the YouTube, then it's going to
So
be
then
all
when
green
you're-
screened
yeah, so
out.
right
Well,
now-
it's not going to
They're
show.
disappearing.
They're
on the,
disappearing.
Oh,
on
there
the
they go.
screen.
Oh,
we have a
okay.
green screen here.
I'll be like,
There you go, right? So on the back, so the fluorescent green.
Like, you don't know
let
me.
Let me cover my belly here.
That's
No, maybe you can see a little bit of it right here.
Start wearing that on the show.
Sewer professional
Sewer
at work.
professional at work. How's that? Okay, so there you go.
I love it. I could disappear too.
Okay,
That's
it's a magic trip. It's Vegas. Like, now you see me.
So,
you don't.
that's-
I love
that's
this.
great.
Thank you so much.
You're
And
very
I'm going to
welcome.
wear
That's
this
funny.
to home inspections.
That's right. That's right. When you roll up to check out a lateral. Absolutely.
I'd be like, you don't even understand.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kit. And thank
You're
you so
very,
much
very
for your
welcome.
knowledge and for coming here
I'll
on the
come
show.
back anytime you need me to talk about anything. I'll roll on in.
It was
so.
wonderful, Ken. Thank you.
This was so informative for us, and I feel like for both Tiana and I, it's going to help us be a better service to our clients.
Absolutely.
If they come across an issue, or at least knowing a little bit about what it is. So I really appreciate you for being here.
Anytime.
And at least now, one of our favorite things is we like to be the source of the source.
That's
Right.
right.
So we
Yeah.
may not know everything, but we know a guy.
We
You
know a guy.
who knows a guy.
And if you guys are enjoying our show, if you find value in it, please like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. Keep watching. We're here every Thursday at 9:30.
Yes, we are. And the lovely Trish Williams, if they wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
702-308-2878. And Tiana, how do they reach you?
If you need my professional sewer opinion, you can call me at 702-379.
Your legs have disappeared.
Yeah, my legs are gone.
Sorry, go ahead with your phone
Okay,
number.
call me at 702-379-9948.
Thank you, guys. See you next week.
All right, you guys have
Bye-bye,
a great
everybody.
week. Bye.
Happy flushing.
Yeah.
Happy flush.